Becky.
Can Miss Becky please raise her hand, bro?
You better call Becky with the good hair.
Yo, what's good? It's your girl Becky, and yes, I do have good hair, also known as Becky the Poet. Welcome to my podcast, Unspoken Words. You guys, today, I've had a rough day today. You know why? Because my crazy ass got no sleep. I've been up since 1 o'clock-ish, 3 o'clock-ish, whatever. I just haven't had any sleep, you guys. And you can't function without sleep. That is not part of self-care. I really want to know what self-care is, you guys. Please let me know in the comments because I don't understand it. I think of self-care as being lazy and watching Netflix and all that, but apparently I'm wrong. Today, we are at episode 22 of season 3. I'm so excited. We have special guests here.
How you guys doing? My name is Christian Clark of CC2 Media Productions. That's a video production company where we operate on all levels. We're able to produce any type of cinema, any type of film, but I specialize in wedding and corporate production. So thank you for having me out here, Becky.
No problem. Chris and I have been friends for years. So I've watched him grow, and he watched me grow. Is it grown or grow? Whatever.
Girl, I think it's girl.
It's girl. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So I brought you here because for season 3, we're talking about other people's story, to why they started this, to what they overcame, struggles they went through, etc., etc. And so, why videography or why photography between other majors and other things you could have done?
Man, so I started off as an engineer major. And
really?
Yeah, I started off an engineer major. I took about a year, and Calculus 2 knocked me out.
Oh my gosh.
I passed it with like maybe a C, D, whatever. Anyways, so my second option was broadcasting. And once I got into broadcasting, I started taking a little bit of video classes and things like that. But from the jump, when I was little, I always loved movies. I always loved the way things were put together. And I would always try to figure out why or how, people jumping through walls or doing all this crazy stuff.
I remember I always see you posted Instagram photos of you like taking pictures at different angles. Is that when it kind of like started?
Off my little Android?
Yes.
Yeah. That was when I started to find a knack for portrait photography and things like that. But I've since kind of just shifted all the way completely to video. I done phased out photography because I wanted to hone in on the skill.
Right.
But since I was little, I loved film. And once I started to learn what it was, how to produce it, it just drove my passion. So a few years ago, I picked up a camera. I rented out a camera from UTA.
Okay.
And I think I went to a little festival and just tried to figure out what it was.
Right.
I learned everything on my own. The only thing that they taught me at school was how to shoot news, and that was after I figured out what the camera worked and things like that.
Okay, so pretty much you didn't have to go to school for this.
No, you don't have to go to school for this at all. It did jumpstart everything, and it helped my network. It helped expand who can teach me what and who people I can get under.
Right.
But the biggest thing that helped me growing into this industry was having a mentor. So I had about 3 or 4 internships. My last internship was with a guy who shot weddings. I actually met him at a bank, which is crazy.
Were you trying to get some money?
No. So I was depositing my little $100 check or whatever.
Okay.
And I seen a guy. You know how they be talking to the tellers and stuff across from you or whatever. And he was like, "Yeah."
So you was ear hustling.
Yeah, for sure. He was just like, I had a big wedding, and I just want to deposit this money into my company account. And so I went up, talked to him. I was like, "Hey, how you doing? I want to kind of be where you at. I want to shoot."
This is while you're in school, right?
Yeah, while I'm in school. I think junior year.
Okay.
So 2015. I'm like, yeah, I really want to do what you're doing. Is there any type of way I can like talk with you or sit down and figure out what's going on? I have no experience, but I really just want to get into this. So he said, "Hey, okay, here's my number. Give me a call on Saturday, and you can come up to my to my office." And so I was like,
he has to have his wine. So weak.
I was like, okay, cool. Pulled up to the office. He talked to me a little bit. We got to know each other. And he liked me enough, so he was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to start you off with editing. He taught me the wicks and ways of the editing. And I was editing on an old school software called Avid. And
wow.
Yeah, Avid is like the OG of all editing softwares.
But would you say it's an upgrade from Movie Maker?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's the OG of professional.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, but now there's all types of stuff, Black Magic, all types of stuff. But it really changed the game. I was editing for about 6 months without touching no camera, and then the best shooters.
So you were just editing his stuff or whatever. What
everything
work was
he would give
thrown
me.
at you?
He taught me how to edit it, and then he would let me edit it, and I would be in a dark room for hours, from like 10 to about 4.
And this is with or without? Did you ever use YouTube?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so this was just
straight him.
Oh wow,
Straight him.
he was a good teacher then.
So then one day he finally was like, okay, I'm gonna take you out and shoot with me. He started teaching me how he shot, things like that. And the rest was history. I took what he learned and developed into what my eye could see. And then I started just kind of creating my own type of style, you know.
Wow. How long have you been doing this for doing this photography? I mean, videography. Sorry.
It's, what is it, 2018? About 4 years now.
Wow. Okay. So you graduated UTA when?
2017. I graduated 2017 with my broadcast journalism degree.
Did you ever want to get into like the news cruise type?
Nah, see, we had a couple classes where we mocked anchors, we mocked the production room and things like that, and it wasn't for me. I would walk in there and I would just be that guy in the back, you know what I mean? I just want my grade, you know.
Right, you're just here for the grade, right?
Nah, but what had really stuck out to me is telling the part about telling the story.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I'm passionate about, is telling the story. And that's how I found out my passion, was through those few classes.
It's kind of like poetry, but in videography form.
Exactly.
You know, and that's interesting too, because I went to a fashion show, and I didn't realize how expressions or emotions and stuff could be developed through fashion. This girl, I don't remember her Instagram name. But I know her designer name was Shannara, and she had a brand called Anti, and she created clothes that had like words of maybe encouragement and I think flowers, but when she looks at flowers, it makes her happy. So like it's so cool to have expressions in different fields, as like poetry and then fashion and then now videography, from what I'm learning. Do you ever tell your story within your videography, or is it through your editing?
I don't think I ever tell my stories through videography, but I like to make my presence felt. You know, through my style, but through editing, I like to tell the people's story. So my favorite tagline is that I'm trying to put what you can see on the screen. I'm just your medium. Okay. You know what I mean? I don't have, unless I'm directing something, but for the most part, I'm just taking what your vision, your idea, and putting it on video and on the screen. Because at the end of the day, most clients are going to want to see what they envisioned. Right. And if they're like, this is not what I thought at all, then
remember how you did my video? When we were shooting this video, we shot my second spoken word video in downtown Fort Worth. And when I shot my first video, it was like a little 3 takes done, because we were at train tracks. We didn't have a lot of scenes and everything. And when I shot this with you, you were so one, I know you're trying to get me out of my comfort zone, and 2, we were in a different setting. We're with people, and I knew, like, I always thought it was like a one-take wonder. Like, all right, this shot, if it's whatever, because you can make it do whatever. But after going through all that the whole night and getting the video back, I was so amazed how the emotions that I was trying to put out in my poem, you made that happen with this video shots. And I was just like, bro. And so when we did the second one, I knew you had the idea. I just had to explain to you. And you know I have a hard time explaining things to people. But when the very little things that I did explain to you, the second video that I did with you was on point, as always. And I was like, how did he do that? Because I felt my own video. I was like, man, I felt this.
That was one of my favorite videos overall, and I've grown completely, like a whole 180 from there. Right. But that's my whole point, to be able to tell your story, right, and show what you want to show, is what I'm passionate about.
That is so cool. So would you lean more towards, like, because I know you said weddings, but what about like music videos and all that?
See, I get asked almost daily, hey, do you do music videos? Can you do a music video? And you know, being black and everything, I just don't want to associate myself with hardcore trap music. I'm open for music videos, but more of a storytelling concept music video. I don't want
like I would say like maybe like J. Cole type vibe.
Yeah. Like that Out of Sight, Out of Mind. Right. You know, that video. Yeah, I want to tell a story. I want to be able to direct something so that you can feel it, like how back in the day, how music videos. Right. But I mean, I stay away from it only because I have a corporate image as well. So I shoot a bunch of corporate video, and I don't usually associate that with my entertainment stuff, but people can find me. You can find me in an instant and find everything I've done. If you see me shot, thugs and trap music and things like that, some corporate company's not gonna want to go with me.
That's true. Because do you think they do research on the internet?
They do, 100%.
Kind of like your resume or whatever.
Yeah. Because number one, my productions are my resume,
right?
But they're gonna say, what kind of person is this? How can we work with him? Is he likable? Does he do well with all cultures and races and things like that?
Oh yeah, that's then the big topic.
Then they automatically say, oh, he's black. So
right.
How are we going to be able to deal with that if we're in an all conservative or all white company, or if we're in an all black company? So it really just depends. But I try to stay neutral when it comes to everything.
Well, that's a little bit of gem for corporate America with videography, I would say.
Yeah, no, stay neutral. I would always say if you can stick one side, but it's also good to find a niche too, because if you provide a service that no one can find, it doesn't matter what you are. Right. That's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get to the point where it doesn't matter. I could have a Jesus tattoo on my forehead, but I shoot so well, and I shoot so specific and so unique that they gotta go with me.
Right, right.
That's what I'm going for.
That's good though. That's good because I know even with podcasting, we talked about at this entrepreneur podcast edition from Wolf Nation about how there's lots of podcasts, and how do you keep up with like making it your own or making it unique, and that's one thing a lot of people struggling with, whether it's YouTube videos, videography, photography. Like, I feel like everybody falls into the same field, but how do you make it you?
Right. As far as the biggest thing that I can make mine is the style. You stick to what I've learned from over my few years. Is you stick to a certain style. Like if you watch all my videos, you always see, you can basically predict what's about to happen. Mm-hmm. I introduce it, I show a bunch of nice, beautiful details,
right?
And I tell the whole story of the event.
What did you tell me? If whenever I'm planning out a video, what should I do? You told me I should write it out scene by scene, and that's how you plan your videos.
Yeah, scene by scene, and what you like to see. It's a storyline.
Okay, storyline, yeah.
Whatever you want to call it, but scene by scene, and what you would like to see. So, for example, hey, first scene, we're sitting on a table with mics in our hand. Next scene, we're outside with mics in our hand. Like, it's that simple, but that way you can help create a sequence of events. And that's how I kind of do everything. But I specialize in taking specific detail and beauty of the event. So making whatever it takes or whatever it is look really great.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This is actually really good gems for me too, because I'm really trying to get back into the YouTube world.
But how would you be able? What do you think that makes your podcast unique? What can you say? If there's a million podcasts, people who will say, I want this type of podcast. How can you say, well, mine's different because I do this? Right.
I would say, well, poetry's one. Not many people do podcast poetry. Well, not on SoundCloud, not that I know of. Mm-hmm. And also how I feel like I'm very real and crazy at the same time. But
do you feel like people are scripted? A lot of podcasts are scripted?
I feel like yes, because I feel like some podcasts have a lot of have these segments, right? Mm-hmm. So you're gonna go through like the Read Black Excellence, and then I don't remember. It's so long, but people have segments, and I feel like sometimes you're expected to be like, okay, Chris Brown did something, so it's gonna be on the Read, mm-hmm. of course, or the voting elections happen, it's going to be on everybody's going to talk about it. Why should everybody vote? Why should people do this? I feel like my podcast, there's an outline, but there's really no segments to where, all right.
Right. It's categorized.
There's one question I start off with and hope that it leads to a conversation and hopes that develops new questions for me. But I always have questions prepared just in case the person I'm interviewing or talking to is nervous, because I know how I am. I'm nervous right now. The camera's right there. Just kidding. But I know as a videographer, you run through a lot of challenges. Yeah. And what are some of the top 3 challenges that you run into?
Man, the biggest challenges, number one, knowing what type of equipment to have and knowing when to move up or when to purchase new equipment, and trying to figure out, well, hey, what's what? Everybody, you start off in the game and you don't have enough money, obviously, so you get what you can get.
Right.
But then you start to, roll in a little bit of dough and figure out, okay, well, I can buy this type of camera. Or I can upgrade to 4K.
Well, pause. So you said buy this type of camera. Do you mean invest into your craft?
Yeah. I would say it's invest in your craft, but you have to understand that starting off, especially when you're in like the introductory stage of videography, you can't charge a bunch.
Right.
Because number one, you're not necessarily, well, the biggest challenge that I would say number one is being confident in your craft. But when you start off, you don't have that confidence as much. So
but
you're
what if you had that confidence?
If you had that confidence and the skill.
Okay, you have to have skill too.
You got to have skill too, because you can be confident in the world and put up some BS. So you got, having being confident and that skill in the intro phase, then yeah, I would go out on a limb, go buy a
expensive camera.
Yeah, $1,000, $1,500 camera.
Because it'll all come back around.
You make it back easy if you're good. But then on the introductory stage too, nobody knows about you, so you have to get your word out.
So marketing.
So the biggest challenge is figuring out what kind of equipment you need, what can you use. But the biggest thing that people don't realize is that it's not the camera, it's the person.
Okay.
So I make it special. I make it unique. I create the type of shots, and I have the brain behind the camera. All this is a medium to capture it.
I know of people who have cameras and who don't do very well.
Right, you can have the most high-powered camera and just be trash.
Yeah.
I think that I could work off any camera and still be okay, and still put together the same type of film, but the quality of it might change just a little bit. But the feeling and the
transitions and all that,
it'd be the same thing.
So you could shoot it off your phone and be like.
I've shot things off my phone too. So nothing you've seen, but
okay.
I've shot things off my phone. But the next biggest challenge is that confidence. Instilling that confidence and believing in yourself.
Okay.
There was a lot of period where I either got an opportunity or I seen an opportunity where there was a little bit higher paying gig or something to where it sounded kind of crazy and sounded big, and I denied it or I didn't go after it because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think I was capable enough to do it. But the moment I started saying yes and jumped after it, even though I kind of still was like, man, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to do it, man, it was like the feeling is unmatched. It's unmatched. Like the first time I did that, I got called about this gig for 4-day editing. I think I remember that. I was 4-day editing at the hotel, one of the hotels in Dallas. 4 days, 14 hours. I was editing straight for 4 days or whatever. And
was it like?
It was like about 2.5 years ago, maybe.
Oh,
but the pay was crazy. I think in 4 days I made about $3,000, and like people make that in a month. So and they were like, you need to be 4 or 5 years in Premiere Pro editing. You need to learn this, that, and the third. Like 60% of the stuff I didn't know what they were talking about. But I was like,
but did you finesse the situation?
Boy, what? I finessed heavy. I got in there and I was just talking to people, learning what keys, certain editing techniques. There's a lot of things I didn't know. But I'm in there with the big dogs, like top production company. I'm sitting there with them as a freelance editor.
That's crazy.
For 14 hours, I would go home, sleep for about 6 hours, wake back up, come back to the hotel, and edit again from daylight to sun up. So it was ridiculous. But the moment when I left out of there, I felt accomplished. I felt like, dude, you just ate this. So you should never you should never push yourself down, nor should you like turn down something because you don't think you're capable of it.
Right.
And then once I seen a check, I was like, well, I got to keep trying this anyways because, you want to be able to have that bread.
Right. So you said something about sometimes you say no to things and then you started saying yes. But when is it the time when you can't accept the gig?
So I'm at this point now where I operate 100% off of schedules. And, there was a phase to where I was building up my clientele where I was saying, yes, everything. I can do it.
Right.
No matter what it is, I can do it. You want me to shoot your baby kid at the, first-year-old present? Got it.
Right.
I'm here. Giraffes. It don't matter. I'm shooting.
Okay.
Just because I needed that exposure.
Right.
But when you get to the moment when you start to have that discernment to say no or yes is when you feel like that you are in a position to turn down things. Sometimes a lot of people will start to put themselves on a pedestal when there's no reason to. There's no reason to put yourself on a pedestal because you might be missing out on the greatest referral in your life.
Right.
Number one. Number two, you might be missing out on that little chump change. You don't like as adults, we know how fast a $100 bill can go. If somebody wanted me to shoot something for 30 minutes and pay me $100,
right?
Just because I'm like, dang, that's like messing up my time. That's something I can have,
Right.
So you got to kind of have that discernment. But when you get to the point where your gigs and inquiries are overflowing and you have the ability to charge a little bit more to where you don't have to work as much,
right.
That's when you can start saying no. So I'm actually transitioning into that phase to where I have to understand what I can say no and what I can say yes to. Because, 6-7 months ago, I was on that yes man stuff, and it's just carried on.
Right.
And now I'm like, I can't keep doing that because.
And you're doing this by yourself, right?
Yeah,
you don't have
all
a
by
team.
myself. No, all by myself. And I'm trying to make sure that I have the peace. You need some peace when you just.
When you say peace, do you mean like time for yourself?
Yes, I've gotten to the point, this mindset to where every time is useful time. I can make $1 out of it every time. Time is money. I kind of adapted that mindset, but in reality, that's not the type of mindset you need, because then you start to overwork yourself.
Right.
And then you start to lose a lot of the things that you desire. So
when you say lose the things you desire, do you mean like within your craft or what you're doing, or just life in general?
Life in general, but they always say, I've always been told that if you're willing to do it for free, then you're passionate about it.
Okay.
But if you chase the money, you chase the bag, then you start to lose the passion behind it. You start to lose the sight of it. You start doing stuff because it's paying you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And not believing in yourself and enjoying the moment and enjoying creating that film. So there's a lot of things to it, but you gotta have yourself some time.
Kind of like self-care and taking care of yourself.
For sure.
That's
big for me.
Do you 24/7 like consistently work?
Yeah, I'm working on the clock. So I do a bunch of digital marketing for Goodwill, for my 9 to 5 is, and literally once I get off work, 9 times out of 10 I'm editing. I'm doing the same thing I'm doing for myself for them.
But the thing is, I feel like it's different, is that your 9 to 5 is something that you also like doing on the side.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. So it can get a little overwhelming because I'm shooting and editing for Goodwill, then I go home and shoot and edit for myself. So it's one of those things to where it's a little rough. Plus, I be having shoots scheduled. Now I got to the point where I'm weekday, so I'll get off work, drive to Dallas, and I'm shooting till 6 or 7 or 8.
Well, I'm lucky to catch you this time.
You know what I mean? And then it took forever. It took what, 3-4 weeks?
Yeah, because I told you, I was like, hey, Chris, you're the first episode you're about to drop. Blah, blah, blah. But, I think it's all good because I think it was giving me time to figure out what I wanted to do with my podcast for this season. Which is also, I guess, because with videography, too, you have to take time to figure out what you want to do with this. Because, like you said, you can't be the yes man to everything. Because then you're going to start messing up your resume or, like, your, I don't know. You'll just start messing up, like, what you were trying to do, and then you'll just lose it.
Yeah, you lose sight for it. And the last challenge, I know we spoke about it a little bit, the last challenge is figuring out your direction, figuring out your niche.
Your niche,
whatever. You gotta figure out your niche. And I think that's what any industry, you gotta figure out what can you do so well that others can't, or what can you do so well that you can continue to build on. Right. You know what I mean? And that's why I started to drop photography, because although I like the back end aspects of it and the beauty of the still,
right,
that's not my greatest asset. Right. So
no, what's funny is that in my lifetime, from middle school to high school to now, I wanted to be a rapper. Figured out I can't rap, don't have the voice to do so. Then I was like, all right, I'll be a poet. Didn't know what poetry was, just heard a free verse. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll start writing my emotions down. I wanted to be a DJ at one point in life. Really? I don't know how to use this equipment, so whatever. Then I wanted to be videographer, and I tried to do things on my phone. I was like, man, I just like to see other people do it, because why? They're successful in it. For example, I see you doing videography. I'm like, damn, I could do that too. I could do it by myself. But sometimes I want to realize in life that you can't do it all by yourself. Because sometimes you have to reach out to people who can. And if it's good quality work, pay for that. Because I've always my new motto now is that I love paying people for their time, but I've had moments where I've paid for time and received horrible work, or not like what I expected. So, I pay for time, but I also want good quality work. Right. So how do you put a price on that?
So, what I used to do was kind of market myself what everybody else was shooting and stuff like that. But the way I increased or decreased my prices, it depends on what it is. So now I'm at the point where, so for example, on basic standard rates, I'm shooting at $100 an hour. That's just it. It doesn't matter what it is, $100 an hour. But
so does it include because I know people do small editing compared to very detailed editing.
So no, all my editing, that hour, I'm putting my all into it. Okay. If it's the most, But what I do, instead of, because a lot of videographers and a lot of people who own their own company charge per hour and then bill them later. What I do is say, hey, your project sounds like it's going to take me 3 hours. That's the only thing I'm billing you for. If it takes me 10, you just got 7 extra hours for free or whatever. But the reason why I do that is because I put myself on a deadline to work 3 hours to still work at my hourly
Yeah, I was
rate.
going to say, do you also charge for not the amount of shooting, but also the amount you're going to take away, like
the editing?
Yeah, the editing part.
So if the shoot is 4 hours itself, then I'll say, okay, based off of what you want in this project, it's going to take me 3 hours to edit. Because I got to the point where I know what kind of...
You add the money to that, like the price to that.
Total would be 7 hours. You know what I mean? But I also have people I've been working with since day one or year 2 or whatever, and I started them, at $40 an hour, $50 an hour, $75 an hour or whatever. When I was kind of increasing, they're still there.
Right.
So, like, for example, Marcus Gilmore.
Okay, I met him in person.
Yeah, Marcus Gilmore, the culture supplier. I've been working with him for years, and we've been doing projects together, and I still edit for him to this day.
And that's why you show up to events that I randomly see you. I'm like, hey, what's up, Chris? What are you doing here? I'm here shooting for work.
Exactly. So, but his rate's still the same. His rate doesn't change for me because I believe in that loyalty. So he knows how much he's going to pay me. He knows how much it's going to be, and it won't never change, no matter how much I go up. But as new people come on, new clients come on, they stick with my current rate.
Right.
So...
Are my rates changing? I'm just kidding. I haven't used it in a while.
Yeah.
I gave up on that whole, not memorized thing, but just like, I think I've drifted more to like this podcasting to get like my poems out. But that's a funny story.
But I do definitely, there's something that I may need you for as far as I'm working on this... I'm working on this fitness. I'm breaking into the fitness industry, but I need some type of audio, some
like the motivational, like what's his name?
Yeah,
Arnold and
all them guys,
all them people.
Yes,
you can do it. Wake up every morning.
Something
if
like
you can
that.
believe, you can achieve.
So I've shot the video already,
right?
And I haven't put it together.
You just need the voiceovers. I got you. Gotta work my voice. Me.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's so cool. So. You graduated, this is your 9 to 5, all this stuff. So someone who's coming out of college, right? How can they make this their 9 to 5 and also do this on the side?
So the biggest thing you can do coming out of college is be picky. A lot of times, folks, and
you want to say yes all the time. Go on, Chris.
You want to say yes all the time, but you also want to grab what you can get. You want to grab the first thing you can get, and you want to fill up to that societal standard. Hey, I got out of college, I got a job, I got a big time, big girl job, big boy job, whatever.
Right.
But one thing I realized in life is you be picky, you'll be happy, and it's only because I probably put in like 200, 300 applications from May whatever till July.
Right.
I interviewed a total of 50 places. I got offered 10 places, and they are for different kind of realms in the media, different realms. But Goodwill was the closest aligned to what I wanted to do, and that's what I took. And then once I got in there, I even created my own role. Like I did what the tasks they wanted me to do.
Right.
But I'm like, hey, I shoot video, and I can bring this to this company, give me the opportunity to shoot this video and shoot all this production. So I took over the whole game. I transformed the whole media platform that Goodwill has. Some of my stuff has been like international. Some of my stuff has been on the headquarters.
That's amazing.
Ad council broadcast, things like that. Even some of my photos, but I used my platform to, number one, gain experience, and number two, gain exposure. So with that Goodwill, there's a lot of people who work with Goodwill, right? There's a lot of people who say, hey, who shot your video?
Right.
Who did this? Who did that? Who did that? You know? So then I started getting that's how my corporate work kind of turned up. But you be picky. And even stuff like, for example, like your car. I got a car just to have a car. I was like, I just need something to ride. I wanted to push start. Right. That's what I got out of college. As I'm driving, I'm like, dude, I don't want this. I don't want none of this. But now trying to get into something else is hard. With loans, all the other stuff, whatever. It's but annoying. I did. I went and got me a different car anyways because I got what I wanted.
Right.
But I should have done it in the first place.
Right,
so
right.
You be picky with everything you want to do and realize that you can scale back on life. So you can get what you want, and don't ever hesitate to take the back seat. You don't ever hesitate to take, because my next step, if I didn't get hired somewhere, was get an internship or externship.
I was gonna say
somewhere.
backseat meaning internship, right?
Yeah, I was gonna go to a production company, get an internship, and kick it in the back and learn. And then after that, I mean, you can do what you want. But if you have that niche and you start to develop, you start working on 1099 contract work. There's so much work out there, especially in Dallas. There's so much work to where if I want to, I could quit my job right now and I would be okay.
Full time.
But I would work, but I don't think I want to do that because that stable check is something serious.
Yes,
so,
that is very serious. You don't want to be struggling, and the next thing you know, lose your
everything.
Yeah, whatever.
Because you got to think about this. It's like 1 month you may pull in 10 grand. 1 month you may pull in 200. Of course, you want to have a steady.
And also,
consistent.
you don't know what's going on next month. So if you spend this month what you got, you don't make that same amount next month. Whoa, man!
But you got that stable. That's the good part about having a full-time job and still doing what you love on the side because you have financial backing.
That's true.
You know, you have that resourceful backing. So I can take a check and buy a camera, or I can save up 2-3 checks or whatever, and then go purchase some real equipment, and still take care of my bills.
Right.
And then what it does is keep that passion alive. It keeps me just wanting to go after it,
right,
and not worry about the money.
So do you believe in the whole 9 to 5 and 5 to 9 thing?
I believe in it, but I also believe in time for yourself.
Okay.
So, like October was crazy for me. I barely slept. I was shooting like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every weekend, working, shooting, sometimes on Thursday. And I had all these projects, and guess who got to edit them? So Monday to Thursday, I'm editing all projects. I literally did not sleep all of October, and I was exhausted. And I don't want to do that again. Right. So I think you got to have your 9 to 5 and 5 to 9, but you also got to have the time for yourself.
Yeah, and more than an hour, I would say, right?
For sure. Well, you got to sleep.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
I mean, you don't have to sleep 8 hours, but at least, I would say 5 hours. I'll be functioning off of 5 hours.
Man, I couldn't, and I value my sleep, and I can't function if I don't sleep. I'm not a zombie.
I function annoyingly and irritated, like ready to like choke anybody who do me wrong. Be like, you're not gonna get my video, you're not gonna get my edit. Sounded Asian at that moment, but
nah, yeah, I'm good. So that's one of those things to where you also got to work for yourself. Know what you like, because if you work that way, fine. But I can't do that. I can't do it. So, but I've been really thankful and blessed that it's taking a turn because I went from shooting maybe once a month to every day.
Yeah.
So
editing every night probably.
And editing every night. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a blessing, but you have to just enjoy the ride up.
Right.
That's the best thing someone told me. I remember one dude who shoots for the NFL. He told me, "Enjoy your ride up."
Right.
And you'll be okay. Don't worry about the end goal. Just enjoy that ride.
I know, because I feel like if you worry about the end goal, you forget about the process, what you have to do in between. And when it comes down to it, let's say you make it. People ask you, how was it? You don't remember.
Yeah.
Or it was all just a struggle, or it was all just pain and hurt. Like, you don't want to go through that. You don't want your success to be hurt. Build off of something that could have been a little bit more happy,
Right, for sure.
But I really appreciate you having on the show. I really had more questions. I was like, you know what, you're on the right track. We're going, and I'm really happy for your blessings and all the things you've done and your accomplishments. Before we close out or anything, do you have anything to say to the people or your social media or anything?
Man, I just want to thank you for reaching out to me so we can do this because 9 times I don't really get a lot of time to speak. I don't get time to talk. I like to talk, so I don't really get a lot of time to just express myself. Right. I'm always behind the camera, silent. So I just really want to say thank you. And for anybody who wants to follow my journey and wants to see what I'm doing and who I am and what I got going on, the best platform you can follow me on is Instagram. My IG is at CHRISS_Swavey, SWAVEY. That's Chris Swavey. My profile picture got a camera on my face, so we're good to go. And as soon as you look on the profile, you'll see a bunch of stuff. But and the good part about that is that I'm still personable. It's not a company page, and I think that's what I love about it is because hey, you get to see who I am and what I do. Right. You also see that's the type of person I'm gonna work with, or that's the type of person I don't want to work with. So I appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. I listen to it a lot of times, and you're doing a great thing, and I appreciate you inviting me.
Thank you. All right, you guys, we are out. But before we leave, this week's poem was sent in again from Malik, titled "As Quiet as the Grave." Dennis, insert the poem right here. And Malik, thank you for this poem. You can follow him on Instagram at callmeleek, CALLMELEEK. If you want to hear this poem, you can only listen to it on the podcast. It's not gonna be on the video, so that's one thing I surprised y'all. I'm doing YouTube videos, but I don't insert the poems in the YouTube because I want to keep that on the podcast. But thank you for listening. We out.
Becky, we got to phone. Yeah, tell Becky to pick up the phone.
Can men